Okay, so we are back with another tier list video here today. Now, last time we did the colors tier list where we ranked the colors of the rainbow in a few shades as well. Today we're doing something similar, but instead we're going to be ranking sports. Now, we're going to be looking at a few different sports and seeing which ones are good, which ones are alright, and which ones just plain suck. I picked out the first 10 sports that came to mind, and the only criteria for judgment today is how much I enjoy playing and watching these sports, and we'll try to avoid metrics like viewership, sponsor money, or popularity. Alright, let's begin. Starting off our list is tennis. Now, tennis is a very technical sport. Learning how to hit the ball at ridiculous speeds while getting it over the net and all the other little skills that you must know make it a difficult but entertaining sport to play, but not necessarily to watch. Watching the pros play is always a good time, but it can get pretty boring at times. Tennis is a pretty chill sport, and it'll go into the B tier. Next up is swimming. Now, swimming is an incredibly tough sport as it requires a huge amount of muscle, stamina, and hard work to reach the top. I myself have never been a good swimmer or even had a great interest in swimming, as watching a bunch of men or women swim in a straight line for however long they must doesn't really seem very entertaining. But hey, props to all the swimmers out there, but it definitely is not the sport for me, and there's probably some better sports out there. Swimming has to go into the C tier. Next up is boxing. Now, boxing is another incredibly tough sport and probably the one that requires the greatest pain tolerance, as it's literally about getting punched repeatedly. I'm definitely the worst boxer on the planet, but it is a very entertaining sport to watch when the professionals do it. It may be the ultimate display of both physical and mental toughness in the world of sport, so for that reason, it can go into the B tier. Next up is basketball. Now, I've been very into basketball for the past 5 to 6 years, both in playing and in watching. It may not be the most difficult sport to pick up, but it is really fun whether you're playing 5-on-5 or just shooting around trying to perfect your three-point shot. While the NBA may not be the perfect league, it does have a huge outreach around the world, and the quality of players within it make the sport very interesting to watch. Basketball is an easy A-tier sport for me. Next up is volleyball. Now, everyone likes to think that volleyball is all fun and games until you actually try to play it and realize just how difficult and technical it can be. While the only volleyball I've ever really watched has been Olympic volleyball, it is really fascinating to watch and to see how fast they can hit it, how high they can jump, and to what lengths players will go to save a ball. Volleyball is an easy B-tier sport for me. Now we get to American football. Now, I've never been the biggest fan of the sport. It's alright to play during your break at school, but I never loved the physical toughness side of it. Watching the NFL is cool during the Super Bowl, but apart from that, it's not a sport that I will watch on my free time. Unfortunately, American football has to go into the D tier. Now we move on to hockey. I was a huge fan of hockey growing up, and nowadays I enjoy going to the outdoor rinks and playing during the winter. My love for watching hockey has definitely diminished as I've gotten older, but catching a game live is definitely a lot of fun. We can put hockey into the B tier for now. So next up we have skiing and snowboarding. Now, these two sports kind of go hand in hand, even if they may not be entirely alike. I never fell in love with either sport, never extensively tried either sport, and just never had a passion for watching it. It might be alright to throw on during the Olympics, but that's really the only time it's on TV. It may be huge around the world, but not for me. Skiing and snowboarding has to go into the D tier today. Next on the list is curling. Now, curling is not a very popular sport, but since I'm Canadian, it finds itself on the TV every now and then. Don't let this distract you from the fact that it's a very dull, very repetitive, and very boring sport to watch, if we can even call it a sport. It's more of a game in my opinion, but I can't say I've ever tried it myself, but I don't think I ever willingly would either. Curling, unfortunately, has to go into the F tier. And last but not least, we have soccer, or football as the rest of the world calls it. Say what you will about the sport, but it's easily the best out of all of them. It's the beautiful game, the world's game, and the game that makes you appreciate sport as a whole. I've always loved watching it, always loved playing it, and with the World Cup nearly upon us, the excitement is real. Soccer is without a doubt an S tier sport. And now we have an honorable mention, as I've been very into this sport lately. We have Formula 1 racing. Now, for the longest time, I thought racing was not a sport, but more of a really skillful profession. However, after watching Drive to Survive, it definitely has opened my eyes on what it takes to be a world-class racer. F1 can go into the A tier as our honorable mention for today. And there you have it, that's our sports tier list. Honestly, being an athlete in any sport is impressive enough and shows a level of determination that most of us don't have. So to all the athletes out there, keep doing what you're doing. Let me know what you think of each one down below, and I'll catch you next time.